Okay, so I tried to make this video already, and it was made, but the file got corrupted, so I'm just gonna run it back. I've already made a video on AI, kind of discussing where I believe it's kind of unethical to you, for people in massively rich positions to attempt to take talent and turn it into a commodity, and in turn run people who are talented out of business. That sucks to me. Fine. Today, I just have a question for people who create with AI. I'm mostly just concerned with when I watch it, I'm always thinking, like, what's the point, dude? If you were to lose a loved one, or if you were to lose, you know, a relationship was to fail, how is it that going and typing onto a computer, um, hey, I lost my mother. Can you summarize my pain with a track from Suno? And can you make sure that it sounds really painful? And can you make sure that it sounds like also super chill and vibey so that people really like it? And can you make sure that it appeals to humans? Just for me, because I want to release it on all streaming services next week. Like, what is that process? Like, what does that even mean? In my mind, the fundamental principle behind why artists are pushed to create is that if not for the creation process, they will literally like self implode. It's something that kind of screams to release out of you, and the beauty is in the process. Like, we spend all day working to go home, and if we're lucky, we have some time to make something, and that's so cathartic. It's like you sequentially improve on what you've previously made, or you seek to break out of your kind of cycle and you make new things, and that is a process that, at least for myself as a creative, I wish to revel in for eternity. Like, if I when I'm in a flow state and I'm actually like happily creating, that might be the only time that I truly feel at complete peace. And it's because, like, I'm doing what I love doing, and I'm able to learn, and I'm able to find different people that I'm inspired by, be it poets or be it musicians, and I'm able to grow in that way. And it's a whole process when I'm creating. It's like the inspiration process is creating for me. I'm creating new methods in my mind about how I might attack the process. And when I create, it's like there's so much pleasure in messing up and then figuring out why, or figuring out a better step forward that resonates better with me. The To me, art is about releasing your story or what you feel in a way that is uniquely you and uniquely human. So when, let's say, there's generations of folks who are inspired by those who came before them, and um, you know, AI is trained on these people who push the envelopes based on what they've learned and based on what they've studied. AI is trained on them, whether it's stolen or whether it's an ethical data set. And so then, therefore, when you just type in a prompt, really what it's doing is trying to predict the most human and digestible way to take their methods and, impart what they've done onto your, like, semi-worded experience into the prompt box. Semi strongly worded experience. Like, you have to kind of give it, something to work with. But in my mind, if you're so my question kind of just then becomes, how like, how are you okay with that? Do you Is it just for is it just because you like, is it a clout thing? Like, do you feel as though because do it. I mean, I'm all, you go ahead and do your thing, right? And I don't mean to attack. I'm just concerned with, like, how do you find that does justice to what you need to say to the world? Because it's no longer your words when an algorithm is taking from people who have spent so long honing their skills. It is no longer your words. Even if you've put yours in, it is no longer, because it's not being spoken by you. And if it is spoken by you, let's say you were to put your voice into an AI and have it do it, it's not it's not felt through your throat as it's spoken. And what makes you human and what makes you you is lost in the process. Um, it's an algorithmic interpretation of your pain. And if you're okay with expressing your pain to the world in that way. In my mind, it must not really have been something that was fighting to come out of you. Um, because very frequently it's just about a release then. You could write poetry or whatever, you could do your own thing in many ways to get that out, but it's like, okay, I'll have an AI do it for me and I'll have it put it out. So it just seems to me to be a contribution to the great wall of slop in a very like Fahrenheit 451 kind of way. Here is all of what I've experienced AI. Now please turn it into a marketable commodity for me. I want to get it out as fast as possible. I need to stay on top. And that's an argument that I hear frequently. We have to stay ahead of the curve, but it's like, dude, if you're creating to stay ahead of a curve, you're mixing up the like why majority of people create with like stocks. Like this, it's not an industry that relies on a curve. It's kind of about, if anything, getting away from that curve and making your own, like finding your own lane. And even that process is beautiful. It's not like an industry that is, I mean, it's super, super cooked in like so many ways, like the, Hollywood labels, all that stuff. But art as it is and as it has been, it's not like a race. Like you do it because you have to, and then you inspire people through that. It's not about like putting out the next thing faster and faster so your ops like are behind you in the race of release. It's like, dude, speak what you have to into the world. And if you feel you have nothing to say, that's fine. You're not falling behind because it's not really a competition. It's like and I hear that argument, right? That it's like you have to use AI to keep ahead of the curve, and I can understand using it for something as simple as like maybe a track that needs the instrumental removed. I mean, I work in the creative industry. It's how I make my living. If I was to spend 10 hours trying to like use EQ, like parametric EQ to cut an instrumental out of a voice, or I guess a voice out of an instrumental, and AI could do that with spectral EQ significantly faster, and it's just to demonstrate to a client what their vocal might sound like on a different instrumental. Fine, that's not a creative process. That's like a tedious, arduous thing, but figuring out what chords to choose and what sounds you feel as though you should layer, and what words you should say next based on what you can remember, makes you feel things. Why would you want to rush that? To me, it makes no sense. And it's not even about like hating or anything like that. You do it if you want, but why? At what point does it just become a soulless capitalist interpretation of what drives what has driven us to create since, as Homo erectus, we were marking tombs with art. Like it's before Homo sapiens. We've been doing this forever. In my mind, it just doesn't make sense to rush the process that we fight to get home to commit to. So in my vibe, I don't really understand what the point is. And it's like people are going to pay attention to you because you're uniquely you. AI can't generate anything that it hasn't already been trained on, and it doesn't want to in many ways. It's super. If you've heard much Sora music, which is an AI tool, it all sounds like disgustingly the same and almost freaky and uncanny in a way. Of course, the technology will be better. We sacrifice our sound when we upload it to DistroKid, I'm sure at this point, because it's likely used to train some AI, but it's very much it doesn't want to offend. It doesn't want to push envelopes. It doesn't want, like that's such a human thing to do, and I don't know, man. Do it if you want, but just because AI is there doesn't mean you have to use it. You create as you are and as you want to. If you're okay with AI stripping away all of those things that are uniquely to you, or if you're okay with it expressing your agony or your highest points in a way that the world will believe, unless you tell them otherwise, actually came from you, because it didn't if AI is doing it. If you're okay with all that, cool. But just, dude, listen, if you're tempted to use AI to like create you as an artist, you don't have to. And if you're going to go and type in a prompt to express like your pain for you, or your, again, like your high or low points, just ask yourself why. Because I genuinely can't understand why. Even sampling, like I see that, like even samples are not, like the art of sampling is about like digging through generations and generations and generations of like music that came before you, and learning to love it and understanding it. And like guys like Madlib will travel the world to experience the cultures firsthand. Ninth Wonder will program his drums to like videos of the community that he wishes to make move with what he produces. It's such an innately human thing that a large part of the process then becomes learning about other cultures and respecting them and respecting that of which came before you. It's not even about these are all old heads, this is all old stuff. It's like, no, we came to where we are today because of that. Disregarding it is scary to me. Letting AI say for you what you would have otherwise learned, endless cultures trying to kind of strengthen your understanding of them to get to a point you can create what you're expecting AI to make for you. It's honestly a very tragic loss to humanity. Sample-based music is it's been a point of contention for a long time, but AI is generating samples now based on music that comes from like places of genuine pain and turmoil. Like the African American community, for example, took circumstances that were like forced upon them and created very, very beautiful music out of it. People learn about this through trying to sample, right? Like you end up finding soul or blues or whatever bands, right? And just performers, and you learn about them, you learn where it came from, and you begin to respect the culture behind what you're, working to, utilize for your own craft. And you can do it in a respectful way. And that's important because it makes you a better person, it makes you a better artist, it makes you a better creator, it makes you a more worldly individual. And that whole intention is lost when AI just takes a track that is a result of, let's say, directly a result of resiliency in the face of like horrible systemic oppression, and just is like, all right, now you can just, I understand the patterns behind this agony, now you can use it for your own track, and so long as you're okay to pretty well lie, no one will know the difference. It's not even a real human in that voice in that sample. It's a complete algorithmic ghost. And to me, that's just sad. It's okay if you want to do it, go ahead, bust it out, but please don't consider that a worthy substitute for what is a whole evolutionary period of human experience. So if I was to sum up the video real quick, I just have a question. What is the point of creating if not for a uniquely human and a unique to you process where you express what you otherwise have a challenging time getting out? What is the purpose of that if you intend to just allow an algorithm to base what you feel you need to express off of a bunch of other creators who have fallen before you or come before you? What is the purpose of that? What is the point? Typing in, I was just broken up with, please generate me a Charlie Puth type depressing track. And it literally just does that. What does that do for you? Use it for utility. Let's use it to cure cancer. Let's use it to speed up our process and otherwise mundane tasks. But having it speed up your period of discovery and creation in a way that does not allow you to envelop yourself in cultures and in new methods of production or new methods of thought or new positions of intention. What does replacing those things, those processes with AI mean? What does any of it mean if it's all just based on what came before in a way that is entirely inhuman?